injured who are currently receiving treatment in hospital. And when it's time for funeral for the departed souls, we will also contribute our quota. Not long ago, Asante Kotoko found ourselves in similar situation, and all and sundry came to our aid. So it's important that we lead the charge to help our brothers. And I call on all of Ghana football, other clubs, to help us put together some packages to help our junior brothers from the coast team, revive and, resurrect from such a tragedy. I was unveiled on the 7th of August, 2020, as the CEO of Asante Kotoko. And I remember in my inaugural speech, I mentioned that Asante Kotoko is a club of great structures. I mean, if you hear the name and the might of Asante Kotoko, it needs no introduction. However, in content, same could not be said of the club. So my task was to lead an able team to match the content with the superstructures that we have. And that is our core mandate, to make sure that how you see Asante Kotoko when you are outside, when you get in, it is the same that you're going to experience. For us, it's not about the superstructures. And I'll reiterate, as I mentioned during my inaugural speech, that for me, a completed chamber and hall is better than an uncompleted mansion. As we can see, there are many scattered uncompleted mansions around. Some takes decades and they cannot be completed. Yet there are smaller structures that are functional and of good use to those who put them. We have a progression plan for Asante Kotoko for short to medium term. That spans 3 years, that covers our mandate. And this short to medium term plan is to lay a solid foundation in terms of content to be able to build upon it going forward. What I discovered in my few months being here is that although many have come before me to build wonderful things for this club, there is no continuum in terms of transition. So people come and build, and when they go, it seems they go away with everything. Then whoever comes in starts from ground zero. That is something that cannot continue. It is important that we have structures and allow the structures to work. If I'll paraphrase President Obama, we do not need personalities. We don't need great personalities, we need great institutions to work. So since I've come in, without my management, in the first 1 month, we've achieved a lot. I wouldn't want to go detail into what we've achieved, because for me, at the end of our 100 days, we will come again to you to enumerate all the things we've achieved. Today is the day of the Galacticos, as I call them. So I will start by introducing them. Then we'll go through a few updates, because I understand you media need updates, the club fraternity need updates. And it's not my style, to be honest with you, to go on radio all the time to be talking. And I'll have to make that clear from the onset. I don't believe in people who make promises while looking for a position, and then when they are given the positions, they continue to make promises. I'm going to do that, I'm going to do that, I'm going to. Just do it. That is my style. Once you've been given the position, just deliver the job. So without much ado, I'm going to start the introduction. It is, when I look behind me, I am elated, I must say, to have such huge personalities. I've had calls, how did you get them together? How did you manage to percent pay cut to be here? I will start First and foremost, with Mr. Emmanuel Newton Dasobere. Mr. Dasobere was until recently a Deputy General Secretary at the Ghana Football Association, manager of the club licensing, and he's worked there for at least a decade. And he comes with such rich experience that you may not find anywhere in Ghana when it comes to his sector. For a club like Asante Kotoko, administratively, we need to be solid. Our compliance, we cannot falter. We have to ensure that the system of the office or the secretariat of Asante Kotoko, its management and operations is second to none in Ghana and on the continent. So Mr. Dasobere comes in as the administrative and operations manager of Asante Kotoko. I know that the question will come, so what happened to those who played the role before? We've had to restructure a bit. So Madame Rose Badmore deputizes Mr. Dasobere as deputy in charge of administration, and Madame Lucy deputized in charge of operations. Before I continue, I must state that Asante Kotoko is really understaffed, even with the new management. For an institution as huge as Asante Kotoko, if you want to really work in all departments and ensure that it functions correctly, you need the right fix. So that is Mr. Dasobere for you. Thank you, sir, for honoring our invitation to join us. The next person I will introduce is Mr. Eric Amwaku-Chum. Mr. Amwaku-Chum is our commercial manager. I remember when his name popped up, one astute football personality, Mr. Ibrahim Sanidara, who used to be the communications manager of GFA. He was announced. He's managed to help the clubs secure in principle the largest sponsorships within the Ghanaian football space. Already, I can tell you that the sponsorships that Eric has already negotiated is bigger than what we currently have. Next to Eric is a beautiful lady, Akosia Denta Amwati. Very difficult for me to describe Denta because she is a woman of many colors. She cuts across so many sectors, but I'll try my best. For me, she is the foreign minister of Asante Kotoko. To be honest, she qualifies to be foreign minister of Ghana, no doubt. She is the founder of Guba Enterprise. If you've heard of Guba Awards, Guba Expos UK, and several other Guba Enterprises, that's the lady before us. She's a TV host. She's a member of the Ghana Tourism Board. She is a football person. I mean, I remember when the Atawastin Foundation, right, went to FIFA, she was behind that. She's managed some superstars in our game. And when it comes to partnerships, international synergy, corporations, she's second to none. You must understand that Asante Kotoko have a huge diasporan fan base. And for the diasporan fans, I sometimes pity them. That was one of the reasons why we initiated the House Kotoko game in London, because some of them have been in Europe, Americas, outside Ghana for decades, and they've not had the opportunity to watch their darling club play. Some of us are privileged that we get to see our team play all the time. Some of them have missed the team. So we have to take the team to them. We have to give them the opportunity, create the enabling environment for them to contribute their quota to the development of this massive club, and also to ensure that they feel belonged to the club. So that's all we can say is thank you so much. I know people don't believe you're here in person, but there she is. We are grateful. We are grateful. The next person on the list is Ekria Bokria Partin, ESQ, lawyer. This was the most difficult catch. Trust me. Many may not know, but it took me months and months to convince her, because she's a very private person. She doesn't get involved so much. She likes to get a job done. And then, please listen, especially our supporters, leadership and the supporters. People were scared that Kotoko, you know, but I pleaded with her. You know, for a club like Asante Kotoko, our legal structure must be solid. The legal framework on which we will develop the policy direction must be solid. Recently, you all know that Kotoko has had some issues legally. So we have two persons for legal. Ekria is the head of legal domestic. You must understand that Kotoko faces a lot of legal issues. Not all of them are sports law related. Some are normal litigation. And therefore, we need an astute person. Ekria is the head of chambers at Legal Inc., Kumasi Chambers. She's the head of the whole chambers. And Legal Inc. is a huge institution. She is currently the board secretary for National Sports Authority. So she is within the sports space already. She's worked with huge institutions in terms of law. And I can tell you that when I look at our setup as a team, she is our goalkeeper, our safest pair of hands. With her, I can assure you that legally nobody's going to bully us. From Ekria, I'll go to one gentleman that is absent, Nilo Efori. If you hear his name, you may think he is a Ghanaian because of the Efori, but he is a Brazilian based in England. Nilo, for me, is one of, if you want, top 4 sports lawyers in the world. Nilo is one of them. He is a resource person for BBC, Sky, CNN. And if you Google his name and you go to images, you see the images of him on BBC, CNN, Sky, and all the other channels. Because he's a resource person for them. When any new sports law issue comes up, regulation, ruling, high-profile cases, he is the go-to person that these institutions call to explain the ramifications of the decision and so on and so forth. Nilo, for me, is what Kotoko needs in terms of international. That is why we have Nilo as head of Legal International, because we have a lot of sports law cases, even currently. Recently, we are all aware of the Emmanuel Clote, Kwame Bonsu cases, and in such matters, you need a specialized sports lawyer to help you. So Nilo is going to be working with Ekria, as Ekria takes care of our domestic issues. He takes care of our international issues, especially in terms of the sports regulatory bodies, FIFA, CAS, GFA, etc. But at the same time, all of them are going to work together as a legal team to defend Asante Kotoko very well. And I'm looking forward to Nilo coming to Ghana soon, and I'm sure you're going to see him around. So we thank Nilo, even though he's not here. We are grateful to him. I'm sure you will see the tapes, for accepting to serve Kotoko, despite his huge schedule. I mean, for somebody who has won over 25 CAS cases, over 100 FIFA cases, over 30 from the basketball federation. I mean, he's such a busy person, but he has agreed to work for Asante Kotoko, and I'm grateful to him. Next on the list is a gentleman I call Jack of all trades, master of all, David Obinyako. Until recently, David was the general manager of Ofakwatano, another huge club. He was the communications director of Brongahafu Football Association. He was a member of the Division 1 League Board. He was a member of the Division 1 League Advisory Committee. At his age, he's achieved it all. But this man, being so humble, agreed to come on board as special assistant to the CEO. And that is a very significant position because I, as CEO, needed somebody who sees through my lens, somebody who understands my vision, to be close to me so that we can together help the team move in the right direction. And it was going to be very difficult to convince David because there were a lot of offers on his table, but I shared the vision with him and he bought into it right away. And so I am so elated. I mean, to mention, recently, you've seen the surge in our imaging, our graphics, our communications, in terms of social media, etc. He is the brain behind it. And David, the reason I call him Jack of all trades is that, no disrespect, he qualifies to be in the administrative wing. He qualifies to be in the communication wing. He qualifies to be, even on the technical side, he has immeasurable knowledge and experience at his age. And so I am grateful to him for accepting to be on the team. David, I'm grateful. The next person is the money man. I call him the money man. Thomas Sebozi. He's a homeboy. He's coming in to help us manage our finances well. He's coming in to help us develop sound financial models that will help Kotoko reach the heights that we want to attain. Like the others, if I tell you the portfolios he's left behind, it's amazing. But he also believes in the Kotoko dream. So Thomas, we can't thank you enough. We are grateful for honoring this call. Then, the man himself, he introduced me earlier and I have to introduce him now. Moses and PJ Mose. He was also a difficult one to get. PJ, without missing words, for me, is the best sports journalist, host I've encountered. He is true to his word. He is fair and firm, without fear or favor. He says it as it is. And if you are going to succeed in such a role, you need somebody that can look into your eyes and tell you the truth, somebody that can speak truth to power. How we manage Asante Kotoko communication is very important. And when I talk about Asante Kotoko communication, it's not just about a spokesperson. Sometimes people, use those interchangeably. Communications manager is a different role, far bigger than a spokesperson. We need to manage our communication very well. You see, Kotoko Express, for instance, is struggling, but it shouldn't. The Kotoko Express should be challenging the likes of Daily Graphic, Daily Guide, and Co. Because we have the numbers. If we manage our communication well, there's no way we should not be challenging them. But where we give our communication out for free, people find out first from other sources. They don't need to go to Kotoko Express or Kotoko app to find out. So we need to, as a club, manage our information flow very well. And if you're going to do that, you need somebody who is astute and understands the vision. PJ, until recently, was the head of media and communication at JMPC Foundation. It took me so long to get him to come. He is one of the reasons why the naming of the management team took a while. Because you can imagine somebody working at GMPC, comfortable, why would he leave that to come to Kotoko? But of course, Kotoko is the biggest institution in Ghana. And we should be able to assemble the best on the pitch and off the pitch. So, PJ, knowing the dream, left everything to be here. And so I want you to help me thank him. PJ, we are grateful. Now that I've introduced my team, I would like to thank the President of Ghana, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, the Sports Minister, Honorable Isaac Kwame Asiama, the GFA President Kotoko and his team, for putting in the effort to ensure the resumption of football. I mean, I never thought I was going to miss football like that. As a football professional, it got to a point I was getting bored. I was getting bored because you wake up, every day is football. I could watch 4 games on a trot, but when, due to COVID, we couldn't play, it became so difficult living without it. So I thank them for giving us the opportunity to resume the game. I also like to thank again Asante Kotoko board. You hear so many rumors, and listen, I know that I am not speaking a lot like others would do. I know this is my first engagement after the unveiling. But that does not mean, my brothers and sisters, to throw out rumors and all manner of things and let people jump on it. It is your duty to inform the people and inform them accurately. I see this craze about breaking the news first, and it's worrying. It should be who broke the accurate news and not who broke it first. But there is this craze about people wanting to break news first, and they want to throw anything out there for traction, for likes, for... Listen, credibility is very important. While growing up, I thought everything I heard on radio or TV was the truth. But I've grown to understand that a lot of it is not true. There was a day I was lying in my bed in Accra, thinking about myself, and I was just surfing Facebook, and I got into Facebook Live of one of the stations. And a man hit his chest and said, and he swore on his father's grave that I was at Menshia. I said, what does one achieve by throwing such false news out there? What do you achieve? So I'll plead with you all that report what is accurate. In the absence, I know sometimes the devil finds work for idle hands, and in a vacuum, people try to create things. But reporting well is very important. One of my visions as CEO of Asante Kotoko is that if I spend 3, 4, 5 years in this position, by the time I leave this position, I shouldn't have only improved Kotoko playing body and staff, but the media landscape must also improve. So whatever we are going to do as a club, financially, resource-wise, to improve the media, we are going to do. Because if we are doing things right, and some people are reporting wrongly or misinforming people, not because maybe they want to do, but they do not understand the ethics of the job, or they do not know how to do it right, then we are going to contribute to help them do it right. Because when they do it right, we all benefit. If Kotoko grows, every media house in Ghana grows. If you go across the borders to South Africa here, media people are moving from one channel to another for over $1 million. Why can't we have 10% of that here in Ghana? So it is important that as the foreign state of the realm, we do it right. Recently, I was shocked. A gentleman from a respected, how the boy fits into our club and our vision for the next 2 years. As disgraceful, I don't know what it is. We not come into the job to speak about problems of the past. If everything was smooth, I wouldn't be here. I was brought here for the present and the future. The board have approved that within the next 3 months, we have an ultra-modern training complex at Adakojachi. The board unanimously bought into the vision. So we are going to put up a fantastic prefab project at Adakojachi. Within 3 months, it's going to be done. I have been to clubs in Europe, South America, who ran over $40 million, $50 million budget, and they have prefab projects like that. Going forward, you are going to see images, the 3D images of this magnificent project, and then you would understand the direction of the club. To attract the right players, we need to have such facilities in place. It is important that we do. So this forms part of our short and medium-term plan. To the playing body, I know you've been following the news. This player has been released, that player is being released. The truth of the matter is that when I came in, Asante Kotoko had 38 players on our books. We cannot continue in that direction. We are going to have a maximum of 30 players. Our first target is 28 players. We are going by a model of 4-8-8-4. What that means is we're going to have 4 goalkeepers, 8 defenders, 8 midfielders, and 4 strikers. Then we are going to have 4 youth players, because there is a lacuna or a restriction in the Ghana football regulatory regime, which does not allow youth players of a team to also feature for the senior side. If you go to other jurisdictions, a player can play for the youth side and still play for the senior side. Even senior players, when they are recovering from injuries, when they are forms deep, they go to the youth side. But we don't have that situation in Ghana currently. So we're going to have 4 exciting youth players, making 28. However, we know that in every team there are some stars that attract sponsorship, attract the fans. So we have 2 slots for such players as well, making the maximum of 30. The reason it's important to have a smaller squad is for us to cater for them well, to pay them the right salaries, to give the coaches opportunity to have effective training systems. Because imagine that you have 38 players and you go for training. How many teams are you going to form to allow everybody? And how does the coaches get time to pay attention to each individual player? So it's important that we reduce the squad. Of course, there are players that will leave and we'll still be monitoring them. If they perform, we'll bring them back. It's happening in many, many places. Pogba left Man United, went to Juventus, he came back. So for us, I don't want you to feel that we've come in and we are just trying to get players out. No. It is important that we have a solid team. Kotoko should have the best team in Ghana, and that is what we intend to help the technical team to do. We need a solid youth system that we cannot compromise. Football is about the youth. If you will be able to retain good senior players, pay them well, you need to focus on the youth. Because our football economy is partly export, or predominantly export. But these people from other jurisdictions who come to buy our players do not like the older ones. They like the youth. So imagine you sell one youth player for $300,000, $400,000, $500,000. Can't you pay the first team well to retain them? Will they be going to Ethiopia? Will they be going to Tanzania and co? So we need to also have a youth team because we need to develop players who have the Asante Kotoko fabric in them, embedded in them right from the start. So that, because you see, there are good players that you go and buy and bring, and because they've not been closer to the Kotoko team, the euphoria the numbers overwhelms them. You put them at the Kumasi Stadium with 40,000 capacity, and they shake. But when you have a solid youth team and these boys are coming through, they've already experienced Asante Kotoko. That is why somebody like Mason Greenwood, Rashford, and rest can come into Man U team and they will play. Because they've been in and around the team and they've already experienced that atmosphere. So it's important that we build a core team. And our medium and long-term goal is to have a young team. Imagine a Wafa kind of team, backed by Asante Kotoko supporters. You can imagine the things we can do. I know we cried that Hearts once beat us 4-0, but Wafa beat them 5-0. So if we want to reverse that, we need a Wafa kind of team. I know that the supporters can be impatient and all that, but listen, currently, Borussia Dortmund have 3 players leading the attack, and they are 20 years, 17 and 17, genuine age. So we need the young players to build a strong team. And that will only mean the supporters will have to be patient for us to build something solid. Rome was not built in a day. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So we would call on the supporters to be patient. I've heard calls that, management, and social media, and I'm dressing. Is football all about one match? Barcelona were beaten 8-2 recently by Munich. Is it all about one match? If it's all about one match, then we shouldn't be here. It should be about the solid foundation on which we can all build. That is what it should be about. We will win most of our matches, we will draw a few, and we'll lose a few. But the bottom line is that we're going to win the league anyway. Kotoko winning league in Ghana is no news. We'll win the league, we'll win the FA Cup. Even Champions League, if we win Champions League tomorrow, it's no news. It's been done before. Kotoko has won Champions League twice. If we win it this season, Insta Scout, and subsequently Asante Kotoko, that we've signed a partnership deal with Insta to have our statistics in place. It is important that we are able to scout players properly. It's important that we are able to review our performances, review that of our opponents, scout our opponents properly. It's important that we build a solid database for our players so that we can monitor their progression, whether they are, developing well or there's diminishing returns. It's important that we have these systems in place. There's another partnership we've signed. I'm not going to announce it now. In the same space, that will be announced in a couple of days. All this is to resource our technical team. We give them all that they ask for. If they ask for a dietitian, you give them. Physio, you give them. This camera, you give them. Everything, you give them. But when you have one of your own and he needs these things or they need these things to function properly, you are not willing to give them. You are setting them up to fail. So we are going to back our technical team. We are going to recruit the best of players for them. We are going to give them the best resources to function effectively. When you are giving them all that and they are not functioning, then you can query them. Because you don't send a man to the farm without cutlass or hoe and blame him for not being able to weed. So we are going to empower our technical team. We are going to beef up the technical team because there are several departments within the technical team, especially the medical side, that we need to equip and resource. And that is exactly what we are going to do. I can tell you here and now that we are about 90% through signing the partnership deal with an EPL club, English Premier League club. There used to be a partnership deal between Asante Kotoko and Sunderland. We are going to sign with another English Premier League club. What we sought to do is to plug Kotoko into that EPL club. Whatever they have there, we need to have it here. If not in the same size, but a replica. We're going to have that. We are going to link as part of the partnership, our technical team to their technical team, our youth setup to their youth setup. That English Premier League club has about the best academy in England and arguably the world. They've produced superstars. So our youth setup is going to plug into their youth setup. We're going to have exchange programs. Our commercial side is going to plug into their commercial side. We're even going to syndicate for sponsorships together. Our administrative setup is going to plug into the administrative setup. Plug into this. So we run Kotoko as a professional unit. It's good to have such synergies, it's good to have such relationship and partnerships, so you can have that economies of scale and benefit from same. I am also happy to tell you that with just under 2 months, maybe 6 weeks of being unveiled as a CEO, we have secured in principle, as I mentioned earlier, about 3 to 4 to be confirmed today, huge sponsorships, that are equal and even some even bigger than what we currently have. They will not be able to generate the revenue they need to be able to pump more money into your endeavors or activities. So it's important as fans and stakeholders of the club that when sponsors come on board, we do everything. Let me tell you the trick about sponsorship. And the reason why currently sponsors will wake up at 5:30 a.m. and ask for a meeting or send proposals and ask for a reply is because we are offering them 5 to 10 times what they are giving us or what we are asking for. So when they give you the money and you don't give them at least 3 times what they are giving you, they will go away. And then you'll be back to zero. Take it as your own. Patronize their products. You can even use your own Facebook page to promote them. It doesn't cost a thing because it's your contribution to Kotoko. As I said earlier on, we have plans that at the end of 100 days in office, we will come to you with all the things we've achieved, including securing a good domain like asantekotoko.com. There is only one Asante Kotoko in the world. We are going to have a brilliant website. We're going to build IT solutions that will stand the test of time. And trust me, what we are planning and trying to do for Kotoko, with your support, you'll be amazed what you see in the next 6 months. We cannot afford to fail. I recently said that Kotoko is a gold mine. Yes, it is. You may see a man holding a bar of gold and assume that he is good at mining gold because he's holding gold. He may not have mined it himself. So if you assume that that man has the capabilities to mine the gold and so you put him into your gold mine, he will waste all his gold, he will come out with nothing. But if you get skilled miners, like these eminent personalities behind me, there is no way you cannot identify and mine the gold within Asante Kotoko. And if you own a gold mine, you should not go with your bowl or plate asking for help, donations. How many companies in Ghana have the customer base that Kotoko has? We estimate to have between 12 and 15 million fan base. But we need to have that database well established. That is why we are doing. There is only one Kotoko that we have. And we all contribute to build it to levels that will be enviable on this continent. I call on you to help us achieve. Because, as I said, these eminent personalities have left all they are doing to come and help us build the brand. Let's not sit on radio and denigrate the brand. Let's not speak evil of it. We need to speak well of the club. Go through the right channels, your leadership, to us, and we will explain. Men jina baby nen say adia sebi e na ejapade. So I'll thank you for coming. I'll take a seat.